Hi, welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm revisiting the very first book haul that I posted on my channel. I posted this book haul February 16th of 2021, so it was close-ish to 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago, in that range. This is specifically a book outlet book haul. So all of these books did come from Book Outlet, but it was the very first book haul that I posted, and so I've seen a couple other people do this, and I wanted to give it a try. I've seen Holly from Lovely Day at Holly do it, and Sandy from Miss Reads a Lot, and basically I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna watch the video, and I'm going to see how many of these books from this book haul that was closest to 2 years ago have I actually read. And I'm going to make an estimate beforehand and say that maybe I've read like 3 because I buy books that I think look interesting and then maybe I don't read them for a long time. I have books that have sat on my shelf for forever. So I don't know how many books are in this book haul. I'll see and I'll kind of keep a running tally, but I'm guessing I haven't read a ton of the books that are in this haul. Let's go ahead and get started. So these are the books that I purchased. Some of these books are just for fun. Some of them are for school in the future. So that's a really good excuse for me not having read all these. The fact that some of these are for school curriculum for upper years of her curriculum that she's using. So I'm going to use that as an excuse for why I haven't read some of these. The first book that I got is Peter the Great by Diane Stanley. We have a few other Diane Stanley biographies, I believe. Okay, so Peter the Great by Diane Stanley. Have not read that one. We actually didn't end up using it for the year that we were supposed to. So the next book is a book recommended for Ambleside Online, and that is Letters from Rivka. I believe this is about a girl fleeing Russia in the early 1900s. So this is one that I actually almost read for middle grade March and didn't. So that's unfortunate. I have not read this one either. So far we're 0 for 2, so that's great. I also purchased The Endless Step. The Endless Step, I actually read this one last fall with my friend Lisa. So check 1 so far. Speaking of World War II, I also purchased The Chosen. This is another recommended read for Ambleside Online. I believe not till like 6th or 7th grades. Okay, this is actually, I read this one with Lisa too. Isn't that funny? 2 in a row. I actually read The Chosen in December of last year. So yeah, so I'm at the halfway point. I've read half of these that I've shown so far. I also purchased The Night Diary. Okay, so The Night Diary, this one is a bit deceptive. I have read this one, but I read it before I purchased it. So I feel like that's kind of a wash because I haven't reread it since I purchased it, but I found it on Book Outlet and I loved it when I read it. I had gotten it from my library, so I have read it, but not since I purchased it. I also got The World's Greatest Detective. My husband is reading it right now. Claire and I absolutely love this book. Probably one of my favorite middle grade mysteries of all time. Okay, there's another one that I hauled, and I don't know if I read it before or after I purchased it, because I remember reading The World's Greatest Detective and I read it on my own and I loved it so much and I passed it to Claire and she loved it too. So I can't remember if I read it since I hauled it. I think I did. I think I purchased it and it looked really good and then I ended up reading it afterwards. So I'm doing better than I thought I was. I bought Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery and also, oh my gosh, slipping, 12 Years a Slave. Okay, so I have not read Up From Slavery. 12 Years a Slave is one that was actually on my nonfiction TBR for this year. And I might get to it this month for Nonfiction November. I've thought about it because it's really short, but I don't know. But both of those are also part of the Ambleside Online curriculum. So, I mean, the fact that I haven't read them yet is not a waste because they're for future times as well. Only Yesterday, which is about the 1920s. Nope, haven't read that one. And then these are 3 books that my husband in particular requested. This one is The Greatest Night, and it's about medieval times. And then also a few David McCullough books. The Pioneers, and then Mornings on Horseback, which is about Teddy Roosevelt. Okay, so I have not read The Greatest Night, but my husband has. He has actually already read that one and he loved it. So I don't know if that counts because I actually purchased that book for him and not for myself at all. So that kind of counts. My husband has read The Pioneers, but not the Teddy Roosevelt one. I don't think he's as interested in that one. I just purchased it because he loves David McCullough. I still haven't read anything by him. I don't think I had one of his books on my nonfiction TBR this year. I would like to read 1776 and The Pioneers, but he's read both of those and loved them both. Got a couple of classics. I got Ben-Hur, which I don't really know anything about. I have not read Ben-Hur at all. It's actually right there. It's right there, that little blue book with the gold. It's on my shelf. Haven't picked it up. Still don't know anything about it. Also got this short story by Tolstoy, and I thought it was gonna be bigger. It's so thin. Oh my gosh. I think it's like 50 pages. I have read The Death of Ivan Ilyich. I read that last summer. I love it so much. It was one of those books that I just sat there and stared at the wall for like 5 to 10 minutes after I finished it because I was just like letting it soak in. So good. I love it. One of my favorite Tolstoys, if not my very favorite Tolstoy, actually, for sure. And I also got the great short works of Dostoevsky, and apparently Dostoevsky's short works are a lot longer than Tolstoy's, which is ironic because War and Peace and Anna Karenina are longer than Crime and Punishment. That's funny. I have not read that edition of Dostoevsky's short stories, but earlier this year I did read A Bad Business, which has 6 short stories by Dostoevsky in it, and 2 of them are in that collection that I showed in this haul. So that's like I've kind of read some of it. And I got some fun middle grade books for my daughter. I got this Great Mouse Detective book. I did not read The Great Mouse Detective. It's really short. All of them are like teeny tiny, but I haven't read any of them. I also got book 8 of Keepers of the Lost City. Okay, so I actually just read this book in September, so I have read this one. I still have to read book 8.5, which is like has a novella in it and then has a whole bunch of other like stuff. I don't even know what you would call it, like different things about the world and the characters and stuff, but then there's a novella in it, so I have to read that. But the new book is coming out next week. Actually, by the time this video comes out, it will already be out. So I still have to finish that novella before I can read the new book. But that's okay, because my daughter's getting the new book first. But yes, I did read Legacy. I also got Bambi and Bambi's Children. I didn't even know there was a sequel. I haven't read any of them. I actually have some other Felix Salten books too. I have those 2. And then I have like The City Jungle, one about like a German Shepherd, and one about like a squirrel or a chipmunk. I can't remember what it's called. And I haven't read any of them yet. My daughter has started several of them and not finished any of them. So I don't know if that says anything about the series or if, I don't know, but I haven't read those. And lastly, I got, Claire's already reading this, I got Where the Mountain Meets the Moon, and then the sequel, When the Sea Turned to Silver. Okay, so at the time of purchasing this, this is another one, I had already read Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. We had listened to it on audio the summer before when we were on a road trip, so I had already read that one. Unfortunately, I have not picked up the sequel though. So this is one of those ones where it's like with The Night Diary, does it really count? I feel like those are kind of washes because I had already read them and that's why I purchased them, because they were so good that I wanted to own them. But I have not read When the Sea Turned to Silver. Well, that's this haul. It actually wasn't that long of a video. It was only about 7 minutes, and there wasn't as many books as a lot of hauls that I've had since, because I've had some really big thrift hauls where I spent a lot less than what I spent on these book outlet orders, but I got way more books. I did better than I thought. I did read more than 3 of these books, so I guess I did much better than I gave myself credit for. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. How are you about reading books that you haul? Do you only purchase books that you're about to read? Because I do that sometimes. Like, I'll have some books that I purchase because I'm about to buddy read them with someone, or it's part of a readathon or something. But then there's lots of books that I just see them and I just pick them up in case I would like to read them at some point. And then sometimes it's a really long time till I get to them. So am I alone in that my physical TBR is massive because I just keep picking up books? I'm sure I'm not alone, but I'm just curious what your book buying to book reading ratio is. Do you feel like you get to them pretty quickly, or does it take you a while? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.